Mann zum Wörterblöckersnitterlül.
Hello everyone, this is Shauna once again with Disrupt Apps LLC, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and once again we're having a concern with internet privacy and internet restrictions and cracking down on the internet, requiring age requirements in certain countries and certain applications. And I've wanted to talk about what my nightmare scenario, what my worry is for the internet censorship and regulations that worry me as a developer in Webmaster, or Webmistress, if you want to be politically correct, but I don't care. Really quickly, once again, we are seeing the crackdown on the internet once again with, oh, save the children, we need to stop the children, and this, that, and the other thing. We need to do age verification. See, these lawmakers are technically incompetent and don't understand how the internet works and how people can make their own websites and run their own servers. And these morons don't know that by trying to block the regular internet, that's only going to drive kids and young adults to the dark web. So these people are stupid. They're clueless. They don't have any, instead of blaming the internet, you need to blame your culture. And I'll make another video on that later. But people need to stop blaming the internet and trying to hold people accountable through IDs and biometrics and crap like that. It's your culture that's the problem. It's the culture that makes people go on the internet looking for dirty pictures and stuff like that, and doing stupid things on the internet and causing depression and loneliness. Fix your culture, don't fix the internet. But I digress. And getting back on track, the censorship of the internet and ID requirements, it's because of the rise of authoritarianism and also AI. So it seems like we're in this death spiral, and that the internet is not so much for the people anymore like it used to be, but rather it's becoming a mechanism for control and basically a profiteering machine. It's just one giant billboard to sell you crap and take your information. With more restrictions and requirements for age verifications being imposed on end users, I sense that governments around the world, especially authoritarian ones like the ones trying to develop in America and all over the world, and likely at the behest of big tech, will start imposing requirements and regulations on web developers, web companies, webmasters, in the name of, oh, let's protect the children, let's protect safety of people's mental health. We need to stop piracy. These tech companies are the biggest pirates in the history of humanity because of all the data that they're stealing. So for me, as a developer running my own servers and as a webmaster, the nightmare scenario that I see happening in the very near future is things that I'm going to outline here. Anyone who wants to own a website or web application must provide a picture ID so they can biometrically catalog you. Bank statements, they're going to require you to prove so many years that you've owned a bank so that you're not some scammer or something like that. That you must pay a fee per each domain that you own. And they can work with web hosting companies out there, and they could say, well, they can make some ridiculous price like, oh, you need to pay $5,000 or $10,000 per domain, and that's going to make it cost prohibitive for anyone who owns a business or owns a website. And yeah, that sounds ludicrous, but look what this administration is doing. Look what they're doing all around the world. They can impose this kind of crap and they can enforce it. They can make it cost prohibitive for small developers and small companies. Next thing they can do is you must be, quote unquote, a registered developer with the government, meaning you have to pass their checks. And they're doing this with, and they're doing something very similar like this with crypto. I'm not into crypto, but if you want to do a stable coin, if you want to be a quote unquote stablecoin issuer, you have to become a permitted stablecoin issuer as per the Genius Act. And the Trump regime is creating a payment stablecoin regulator. So Trump and his regime are going to be in charge. They're going to be the regulators for anyone who wants to issue a stablecoin. And again, I'm not into crypto, but with the way this regime is going, they might say, well, you need to be a permitted web developer, or you may have to be a permitted software developer, and they may come up with some sort of primary federal developer regulator scheme where they are in control of who can become a web developer or a website or web application or web company. Don't put it past these people. Another thing that they can do that worries me is they can impose lengthy and expensive quote-unquote training and validation programs if they want to force you to become a validated web developer or web company. And it's like they might make it to like where you have to be a doctor or a lawyer and pass all these really expensive and lengthy training programs or whatever to get a license. Another thing that concerns me is the government might mandate you to provide them all of your code. Like all of the code that you make, yeah, code can be considered disposable, but think about it. They could require you to have a government repo like GitHub or something. Maybe you might be forced to put your company's code on a government-run oversight GitHub thing, repository, Don't put it past these people. And another thing they might do and mandate is you must give all your encryption keys to the government or on demand, or they might just outright ban encryption if you run your own web servers and websites and web applications. Another thing that they can do is, you must be able to produce all of your clients or users on your applications or whatever on demand. And they've done this with email companies when they think that there's suspicious activity. They'll demand that you give over this data or we'll shut you down. So don't put it past these people. And the way things that are going, this may very well happen. And basically what these regimes can do is they can make it financially impossible and or illegal for small-time developers who want to keep the internet open, free, and private, and to give them any chance to function. I mean, this will crush any competition for a better internet or for better and more private web applications or web services. Again, look at the Genius Act. Look at what the government and the Trump regime is doing. They can take these same principles and apply them to the web, the internet, and web developers and web companies and web technologies. Don't put it past these people. And as someone who develops websites, web applications, desktop applications, and running my own servers, this is the nightmare scenario that I really worry about. And this is the motivation for what I'm doing with Disrupt Apps. Because when they start coming after the people who know how to run web servers, how to do networking, when they come after people who can do web applications and websites and software applications and databases and so forth, when they start coming after them and making them pay licensing fees or make them become regulated or do this and do that, it'll destroy the internet that we have known for the past 30 years. And this is why I do what I'm doing. This is my motivation for what I'm doing with Disrupt Apps, showing people how to code, how to run their own servers, and building my own peer-to-peer browsing system. This is my passion. My name is Shauna Brooks, and I'm here to fight to keep the internet open and free. See ya.